Today we're going to do a speedy boot for your CV axle. You get a busted boot. I haven't tried one of these yet, but I thought I'd go ahead and video it, see how things go. Part number is 03609. It is made by Dorman. They're pretty reputable, but we're going to put it on this Chevy Silverado. It's a four-wheel drive unit. The first thing you want to do to get started is jack it up and take the wheel off. Now that we got the wheel off, you can look in here. You can see the boot's busted and it's slung grease all over inside here. It's making a horrible mess on everything. We're going to remove that boot, and that's the one we're going to replace. I'm also going to replace this front rotor at the same time. You don't have to. It'll make it a little easier for you to see what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and take that off. With the brake caliper and rotor out of the way, you can see it provides you a little bit more access to the boot, so that you don't actually have to remove the axle shaft. There's a metal ring right here, and then one back here. And I'm just going to use some wire cutters. I just use wire cutter. This outer ring is just one solid ring, so you'll want to take your screwdriver edge and just place it on the side of it and tap it with your screwdriver. Start working it loose, and then you can do that. Work yourself all the way around to pop it off. And you can see I just worked the screwdriver around the edges till it popped clean off of there. So now all we got to do is just take our razor blade and cut the old boot without cutting ourselves and remove it. Just about any razor blade would do. I've got this carpet cutting or hand razor blade that I'm going to use, and it doesn't really matter where you start because we're not going to save this one. You can see I started at the end and I'm just working my way through. It's rubber, so just take your time with it. Once you get it cut all the way through, you go ahead and pull it off of there. And if you still got your ring, then you're in good shape to reuse it. Otherwise, you can use the clamp that's provided. So let's open up our speedy boot kit. Looks like we've got some instructions. How to remove the old boot. Pretty much the way I just told you. How to install it. And it does for reference, that's good. So what I'm going to do here is examine the replacement boot. Set it next to our old one. This one appears a little bit bigger. So you want to make sure that your CV joint is packed full of grease. And the instructions with the Dorman kit recommend that you clean all that old grease off, use a spray solvent to get all the excess grease off of it, and then let it air dry. Don't blow it with a air compressor or anything like that. When you're done, you want to make sure that the new grease is packed in there real good and tight, so that everything's got enough grease before you put the boot on. And what I'm going to do is just put the grease on the tips of my fingers. I'm going to wear gloves. You don't have to, that's your prerogative. And just carefully mash it in. Anybody that's packed wheel bearings, you're familiar with this already. Once you get it nice and packed full of grease, we're going to come back to our boot and we're going to put our screws, get them started in every one of these slots. It stays nice and quick. I will recommend that you go ahead and push the bolts through the other side. Well, it's nice and easy to do. Some of the holes aren't completely open just for manufacturing. The bolts or screws will pop through. It's not as easy, so you might as well get them all done here, and then you can just pop it back apart. And then it'll be easier to go together once you get it on the CV joint. And you see once you get all the screws popped in, what it should look like. And then they provide you the nuts. So you want to slide the boot over and then just push the bolts back through all the holes and then put your nuts on them, tighten them up. One thing to note is it's a lot easier if you use a 1/4 inch nut driver on one side, screwdriver on the other, and you cannot over tighten them, so just run the nut all the way down till it stops and then you're good. The pressure of the rubber will keep them nice and tight. So I've got it on there, got it all the bolts in nice and tight. I did try 3 or 4 times to reuse the factory GM metal ring, but there's too much material, and with the split it just wouldn't take. So rather than fighting it, I decided to go ahead and try the provided ring or clamp. So we'll just put that on there and see how that goes. Not the easiest clamp to put on, but if you follow the instructions that they give you, pull it tight, bend it over with a screwdriver, and I had to put the screwdriver in, hold it down, and you see it doesn't make it easy to bend the little tabs. So what I ended up doing was using a pair of channel locks, put over top of the screwdriver, pinch it together to get them started, and then use the screwdriver on the edge to knock them down the rest of the way. But it's on there. Now we just got to do the inner one and do it the same way. Once you get the other clamp on, you can see there's a little bit extra. You can just snip that off if you want. And that's pretty much it. We'll clean it all off, put it back together, and take it for a test drive.